I'm Brent with Freedom Boat Club, and today we're going to go over washing a boat at the turn. So the turn is going to be a little bit different than a deep clean wash. So we'll go over washing at the turn first, and then we'll kind of include some things about how to do a deep clean wash afterwards. But essentially in a turn, you're going to want to wash the boat as well as you can, as quick as you can. So we'll pre-mix our soap. We're going to use boat soap, and boat soap's pretty concentrated, so you don't need a ton of soap in the mixture. Just a quick spill like that. And then we'll put deck cleaner in it too. Deck cleaner that gets like the black foot marks off of the non-skid surface on the floor of the boat. And deck cleaner is pretty concentrated as well, so you don't need a whole ton. And then you want to fill the bucket about halfway up with water, about to there, and get it good and sudsy in there. Alright. There, that's about halfway full of water and the rest of the bubbles. So, get our bucket filled with soap, and then we'll rinse down the boat. So one of the general rules that we do is we go from front to back and top to bottom. That kind of keeps the natural flow of the water, so the boat is kind of self-draining as you wash and rinse, so that way when you go back and start to dry, there's not as much water to dry as if you just hit it with the rinse down. So I'll go ahead and I'll rinse it off, get a good base coat of water, and then we'll take the brushes and we'll kind of scrub everything. Alright, and one thing to note too, for the dash, the electronics on the dash and the speakers, those are two things that you don't want to hit directly with a powerful stream of water. For example, you don't want to have the full stream going straight into a speaker or in the gauges on the dash. Now these things are meant to get wet, so you can hit them with the water whenever you want, but it's just best to kind of practice to not hit them with too powerful of a stream. So if you want to hit the dash, to kind of stand back and kind of just do the rinse setting as opposed to, you know, the full blast. So then I'll get my brushes, and you have two kind of brushes. You have a soft bristle brush, which is like this blue one right here, and this is good for anything that's not a hard surface. And then you have the hard bristle brush. This is good for the hard surfaces, especially the non-skid. So you have the non-skid up here on the side rails, and then down on the floor. That's what you want to use the hard bristle brush for. And then sometimes for like the soft bristle brush, it's good also for the smooth hard surfaces too. So soft bristle brush goes for the seats, the canvas, and the slick hard surfaces. Hard bristle brush usually goes for the non-skid hard surfaces. So we'll start at the front. We'll start with the hard surface at the very top of the front, and then we'll go from there. Alright, now that I kind of got that top surface, I'll go with the soft brush. I'll hit the seats, and then I'll kind of rinse everything down after I've hit the seats. Alright, so now that I've gone through and soaped everything, I've soaped all the upper surfaces. So I've soaped scrubbed the rail here, I've scrubbed the seats, scrubbed the sides of the center console, these back seats. I didn't directly soap over the gauges, but I kind of went around them. And then, now that I've done everything, essentially everything except for the floor, I'm going to go and I'm going to rinse it all. And then that'll give this upper portion of time to dry while I scrub the floor. And then when I come back to dry, then I won't have as much water to dry off of the top surface. And again, start from front and go back when I'm rinsing everything. And I start from front to back, so that way gravity and the momentum of the water kind of rinses everything else off as it goes, so I don't have as much to do once I get to the back. So again, front to back and then high to low. Okay, now after I've rinsed that, I'm going to go to the floor, scrub the floor, and while I'm scrubbing the floor, the top part will kind of drip dry a little bit. I'll grab my tough bristle brush here, and I'll start going at the floor. I'll start from the front and work my way to the back. And another thing to note about scrubbing these non-skid surfaces, a lot of times you got to put a little muscle into it to really lift these stains out. Alright, so that quick, I've hit the floor. Now I'm going to set my bucket on the outside and I'm going to rinse everything off. And again, I'm going to start from the front and work my way to the back. And since I've already rinsed everything up top, I'm just going to try to keep the water hitting the floor so I don't re-soak the top area. Alright, now that I got everything rinsed, I'm going to get this chamois, start from the front and work my way to the back. Alright, now my chamois is starting to get really wet. You can see how it's kind of dripping now. So every so often, what you want to do is you want to wring it out, get it dry again, and then go back. So to wring it out, you grab here at the base, up top, and you kind of twist it until you can't do it, just with your fingers. And then you just twist it with your arms like that and wring it out. Alright, and I'm good to keep going. Alright, so you'll notice I've hit all the top surfaces first. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the floor. All right. That's it with the chamois. Everything's pretty well dry. Now if you have a handheld chamois or a rag, you can go through and kind of get the dash. And if there's a little bit of water still in the seats, you can go through, dry it off. All right, so you just kind of do some of these small areas by hand. Now the turn, it should take you between 10 and 15 minutes to wash a boat. So that was pretty quick. There's not a lot to it. You just get the exterior surfaces. And then you can just check under the seats and just make sure that there's no trash or anything in there from the people that went out that morning. But other than that, it's pretty simple. So just basic rules. The soap's pretty concentrated, so don't do a ton. And then work from front to back, top to bottom. And that's pretty much it.